physicist Louis Slotin was tasked with testing the core of a nuclear bomb. His method didn't involve remote controls or massive lead walls. He manipulated the live plutonium core using his bare hands and the blade of a flathead screwdriver. The systems we see today weren't standard practice in the 1940s. They were built piece by piece as the scientific community realized that human intuition was no match for the speed of a nuclear reaction. The goal of this specific experiment was to measure how close the core could get to a massive reaction. Slotin had to physically push two plutonium hemispheres sliding closer and closer together. He was trying to find the exact point of criticality, that is, the specific distance where the neutron radiation bouncing between the spheres triggers a self-sustaining runaway nuclear chain reaction. Slotin wedged his flathead screwdriver between the two heavy halves. That single tiny piece of steel was the only physical barrier preventing the core from snapping fully shut. Treating a volatile force of nature with a common hand tool left absolutely zero margin for human error. A disaster was mathematically guaranteed the moment his hand slipped. On May 21, 1946, Slotin's hand shifted a fraction of an inch. The metal screwdriver slipped out from the gap. Without that barrier, gravity took over. The top half of the plutonium sphere dropped flush against the bottom, instantly pushing the mast into full criticality. The atmosphere shifted immediately. A brilliant blue flash erupted from the metals, accompanied by a massive wave of gamma and neutron radiation. Slotin reacted instantly. He lunged forward, grabbed the burning hot top half of the sphere with his bare hands, and threw it to the floor to stop the chain reaction. His quick reflexes dropped the radiation levels and spared the other 7 scientists in the room. But in that fraction of a second, his own body absorbed a lethal dose of radiation. The damage began silently and immediately. The massive influx of ionizing radiation was stripping and destroying his cellular structure from the inside out. Within minutes of leaving the building, the physical symptoms presented. Slotin experienced severe, agonizing nausea and began vomiting profusely. Over the next few days, his condition plummeted. The radiation had caused his internal tissues to literally burn and deteriorate, leading directly to massive gastrointestinal and organ failure. The damage became highly visible. His hands and torso swelled massively, the skin blistering and turning deep blue and black before he died in agony on day 9. A millimeter of physical slip created 9 days of inevitable biological collapse. Watching their colleague endure such a brutal decline changed how Los Alamos viewed basic safety. This led to an absolute permanent ban on manual, hands-on nuclear testing. Scientists were completely forbidden from manipulating live cores with hand tools, transitioning immediately to distant control panels and separated instruments. The specific plutonium mass involved, which the staff quickly dubbed the demon core, was placed under heavy quarantine. It was never handled directly again, and was eventually melted down to be used in a different weapon. Slotin's death marked a permanent pivot in laboratory culture. Within months, the physical act of touching a weapon-grade core became a relic of the past, replaced by the mechanical distance required by new federal safety mandates. This event forced the creation of an entirely new discipline, remote systems engineering for hazardous materials. Today, facilities are required by law to construct massive physical barriers. Thick lead walls and heavily shielded viewing windows are designed to keep human bodies as far from the radioactive source as possible. When a live core needs to be adjusted, scientists use the precise, remote-controlled robotic arms we saw earlier. Every sterile, engineered safety protocol standing between humanity and nuclear disaster today was directly drafted in the wake of those 9 tragic days in 1946.